everyone, I'm Case Aiken. Now, as a Superman analog, Emerpus was trying to do good, he just didn't understand our world. But in the setting of Alan Moore's Supreme run, it was the Shadow Supreme that was the villainous counterpart to Supreme through and through. The Shadow Supreme was an evil construct created by Supreme's version of Lex Luthor, Darius Dax. He occupies the more villainous aspect of characters like Bizarro, a sinister henchman and powerful enforcer. He would fit well in the challenge of Superfriends era Legion of Doom. And in fact, there was a character that did fit that era that was quite like him, the Negative Superman, who is a one-shot villain created by Lex Luthor from a 60s issue of World's Finest that clearly Moore was drawing inspiration from. Anyway, the Shadow Supreme was introduced as one of the menagerie of villains in Supreme's Phantom Zone equivalent, the Hell of Mirrors. However, when he breaks out, we see just how vicious he is. Right off the bat, he kills Radar the Hound Supreme. It turned out to be a robot copy. But how fucking evil is that? And I should note that this served as the cliffhanger for what was the initial end of the Alan Moore Supreme run due to financial difficulties at Awesome Comics. While the series would be relaunched a few months later, there was a moment where we thought the story ended with an evil version of Superman killing an analog for Krypto. So for a time, we were left thinking this was it. Now, the series did fortunately relaunch, at least for a time, and even though it was ultimately still incomplete, this story wrapped up, and so we got to see what happened next. After gloating about murdering the Hound Supreme, the Shadow Supreme then goes on to pummel Suprema. Now, Supreme would then show up, but this just results in a stalemate. Each two evenly match to gain an upper hand, and the collateral damage rises. This is a fight against a Superman who wants nothing but pain and suffering. He's made for that. The battle only shifts gears when the real Radar shows up and does a badass stand against the Fiend. As a character, we get to explore what was a one-and-done concept from the Silver Age, embellished with more modern artistic tools. I love this design. Black form with white outline, it's something that really can only be done in a drawn medium. During the fight, we get to see stuff with gradients to show him consuming colors with things that connect with him. His powers and purpose are terrifying. While it would be difficult to have the Shadow Supreme as an ongoing villain, he's a great one when used sparingly, to show just how high the physical stakes can get. Anyway, next time we're going to continue talking about twisted versions of Superman archetypes, and this one will really be number one. But until then, stay super, man. Hey, this is the part of the video where I thank you for staying to the end and watching the whole thing, and ask that you please do all the YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. It does help the channel grow, and it's grown a lot, and I really do appreciate the amount of feedback we've gotten. If you enjoyed the series, you can check out the podcast that goes along with it. Men of Steel, you can find it at certainpov.com. We just had a really cool episode about a unified theory for Superman's powers, where we discuss it with a physicist who actually wrote a paper on it, Ben Tippett. Really cool guy and canonical person in the Marvel Universe. It's a very cool episode. I highly recommend people to check it out. And here on this YouTube channel, we will have clips from that episode up this coming week. So check those out. And otherwise, just have a great week.